Hey folks, happy Friday. Meteorologist Amelia Henderson here with episode 2 of Tropic Topics, where we give you all of the updates on what's going on off in the tropics and keep you in the know for the upcoming months as we near peak hurricane season, which, as most of you know, typically starts to spark up in August, September, and October. Thankfully, it's been a rather quiet start to June, and the first official month we are almost out of it, and it's been pretty quiet out there. We only had one named storm, so let's get right into it. A few updates to talk about, and I'll go ahead and give graphics full so you can see what is going on. First things first, let's talk about the Southeast Pacific. Of course, no impacts here at home, but always like to monitor this as well. They did have major Hurricane Eric make landfall and major impacts to Mexico there, and now there's this broad area of low pressure. Has about a 50% chance, a moderate chance of development within the next 48 hours, but over the course of the next 7 days has an 80% chance of development. Of course, no impacts here at home, has no impacts to the United States by any means, but it's summertime. Many people like to travel. Maybe you're going on a cruise ship that's heading in that direction, so just something to keep in mind there. Now, late last night from the National Hurricane Center, the most recent update, they are now monitoring showers and storms close to the Bay of Campeche. Has a very low chance of development within the next 48 hours, only about a 10% chance, and over the course of the next 7 days, only a 20% chance of development. But something we're continuing to watch, especially it increases a lot of moisture, tropical moisture for us here at home, and you might have noticed the past few days here, it's been rather active, especially during the afternoon hours, and this wet pattern is definitely going to continue to pick up as we head into the weekend. Now, why is that? Well, there's this trough, this upper level trough overhead that's just going to hang out with us over the course of the next few days. Now, if this trough that will be lingering overhead over the eastern seaboard the next few days, if it happens to be able to come down to the surface, it could develop into our next low pressure system that could potentially become tropical. So something we are watching out for. But let's go ahead and look at the European model, which shows off. The European model shows an area of disturbed weather hanging around Florida and also the southeast hanging around for this weekend, sparking up potentially over the course of the next few days. Again, if that trough was able to come down to the surface and become our next low pressure system, we've seen it in years past with named storms like Colin and Danny, typically very short-lived and would mainly just be a rain event rather than a wind event. So again, if it does come to the surface and becomes our next low pressure system, we'll continue to monitor it, but as of right now, it's just influencing this very wet pattern that we have going on over the course of the next few days. So as of right now, nothing to worry about, and it's nice and quiet off in the Atlantic. Now, it would have been one of the most quietest Junes we've seen in quite some time if it weren't for Tropical Storm Andrea that just wanted to form, that made no impacts to land. Of course, it went off and was just a problem for the fish. But now, thankfully, we do have a lot of Saharan dust. That's this plume of Saharan dust. In fact, more Saharan dust that we've seen in just weeks past. So this cloud coming in from the coast of Africa, traveling 5,000 miles, will be impacting us here at home in Florida over the course of the next few days. And I want to come on camera so I can kind of explain what goes on when we see Saharan dust. So it brings all of this dry air and limits any type of development off in the Atlantic, which is great news. Dry air, and it also kind of cools things down at the surface. So that also helps limit any type of tropical development off in the Atlantic there. Also, if you happen to be out and about this weekend, you see a little bit of a haze during the morning hours and the evening hours. It creates beautiful, beautiful horizons during sunsets and sunrises. So if you happen to be out and about, maybe going to the beach, maybe you're out at the Billfish tournament going on this weekend. I know that's a big tournament in the Panhandle. So snap those photos, connect with me on Facebook, Amelia Henderson Weather, and it might be a little bit of a car wash day heading towards next week because it also can make a little bit of a dust there on your windshield. So something to be monitoring as far as that. But we love Saharan dust. Again, it keeps things pretty quiet there. But as well as Saharan dust, I'm going to go back into my graphics and show you the wind shear. A lot of wind shear out there, which we love to see. Now, some of you may be asking, why do we like to see wind shear? Well, wind shear is the change in wind speed and direction with height, which acts to shred and disbalance the vertically stacked structure necessary for tropical systems to form. And also, again, that Saharan dust provides that dry air that helps cool the sea surface temperatures, which further limits any type of storm formation. So both in which act to just kind of keep things quiet, which we, again, have seen for the month of June. If we wouldn't have seen Andrea, again, she was a problem for the fish, had no impacts to land, but if we wouldn't have had a named storm this month of June, well, it would have been the quietest we've seen since 2014. But Andrea, she sparked up, I think, questionably, maybe arguably one of the shortest tropical storms we've ever seen. Lasted about 4 to 6 hours and then went into an environment that was not favorable for further development. So had no impacts to land, thankfully. And other than that, we have been good to go for the first month of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. Now, what does that mean? A quiet June doesn't necessarily mean anything, honestly. For the rest of the hurricane season, we haven't even started into the peak season. We'll talk about peak season in just a moment. But first things first, let's get into the fact that many forecasters from both NOAA and Colorado State are still forecasting a well above average season. Not quite as significant from the 2024 season, but still above average. So from Colorado State, they are forecasting 17 named storms, 9 hurricanes, 4 major hurricanes, where NOAA is forecasting 13 to 19 number of storms. Hurricanes, 6 to 10 hurricanes is what they're forecasting, and 3 to 5 major hurricanes. Now, comparing that to the average, typically would be 14 average named storms, hurricanes, 7 named storms as far as hurricanes go, and then 3 major hurricanes. Again, that's the average compared to what forecasters are expecting as we continue to trend towards peak season. Now let's talk about peak season. As many people know, especially if you are from Florida, but maybe you just moved to the Panhandle and you're a little bit nervous. I know many people have messaged me saying they're extremely nervous. They lived through Hurricane Michael and just want to continue to stay in the know. That's why we're here, folks. Ross and I continue to do these tropical updates as often as we possibly can. About every 2 weeks, we'll do a Tropic Topics. And of course, if anything is forming out there that we're concerned about or think it's going to be impacting us in any way, shape, or form, we'll do this a little bit more often. But as we trend towards July, it's typically a little bit more quiet. Didn't see that from last year. Of course, we had Major Hurricane Beryl in July as well as at the end of June too. But heading towards peak season officially on September 10th, that is peak season. So while things are quiet as we head into the month of July, now is the time to start making your hurricane plans if you haven't done so already. Always good to have a plan in place even when things are quiet. That way, if a storm does happen to form rather quickly and comes towards our area, you know what to do and you have a plan in place. Okay, so again, we are about to head into July here. Let me come back on camera. We're about to head into July. We are still watching that area of showers and storms closer towards the Bay of Campeche. Thankfully, as of right now, has a very low chance of development. But still, we do have this trough overhead over the next course of the next few days here, influencing this wet pattern, which is a good thing. Honestly, it keeps those temperatures a little bit more manageable. We were into the upper 90s, even saw some 100-degree marks without the heat index. So that was earlier this week, but this wet pattern heading towards this weekend is going to keep us a little bit more average as we head towards the weekend and this next week. So low 90s, of course, heat index always makes things feel about 5 to 7 degrees warmer than that. But the only update I have for you right now off in the tropics, I'll go back into this graphic here, is just this area of showers and storms. Let's go back full screen. Still kind of getting to know this system, so I do apologize. I'm kind of a little bit new to this, but hey, again, not a bad start to the hurricane season by any means. Still watching that area of showers and storms associated with that broad area of low pressure down in the southeast Pacific. Again, no impacts to us in the United States, and thankfully nice and quiet off in the Atlantic. High pressure over closer towards Bermuda. Again, Saharan dust. We have all of that wind shear, so many factors keeping things quiet for the foreseeable 7 days, maybe even up to the next 2 weeks or so. But that area of showers and storms by the Bay of Campeche, if it does develop, it will be providing more showers here at home, but other than that, that's probably going to be a very short-lived system, if anything at all. So regardless of if anything becomes tropical, localized heavy rain and possible portions of Belize, Guatemala, and southeast Mexico will be getting quite a bit of rainfall over the course of the next few days as well. But that is my official Tropic Topics update. Again, Ross and I do this every 2 weeks. This is officially episode 2, so thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, please feel free to message Ross or myself. We are always happy to keep you in the know and give you all the updates. And please keep in mind, I know there's many clickbaiters out there, many people posting on social media when any type of model spins up something. Typically, you know, many people just like to get those clickbaiters to keep their engagement going. So make sure you are getting all of your information from trusted sources like Ross or myself. We will always give you the facts and no fluff. So have a great Friday, have a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you in our next Tropic Topics.